Hello and welcome to episode 67 of the NF show, From Kid to Squid. So I bet you can guess what we're going to be talking about this week. But before that, I'm your host for this episode, Evan Campbell. And with me, as always, is the ever lovely Noah Ward.
Hey everybody, good to be here. Good to be here.
But that's not all. We also have one of our favorite co-hosts returning, Daan Koopman.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Yes, and if you're wondering, Don is the person that's gone from kid to squid, as he's been playing a ton of Splatoon. So he's going to have a very in-depth, hands-on preview that we can't wait to talk about with Nintendo's splashy shooter that's coming out, what, 10 days now? Is it 2 weeks? Less than that?
10 days, yeah.
10 days. We'll all be able to get messy with the Wii U. We can have all kinds of terrible puns like incredible and I don't know.
Oh, that's what Splatoon is all about. So
yes, so it'll be really fun to talk about. But we're also going to be talking about a bunch of other games, such as my recent a recent update with me and Harmonite. Noah's been doing his homework, doing a good job.
It is my destiny.
Yeah, it is his destiny.
You could say it is my dual
destiny. Call talking about terrible puns there, my lord.
Yes, we're bringing them all out for you, Don, just for you.
Well, thank you.
And then finally, Nintendo's unveiled its E3 plans, so we'll talk a little bit about that before wrapping up the show, nice and tidy with a bow on top, with your fantastic feedback. But let's get right into it with what we've been playing. And Noah, I want to start with you. Dual Destinies, how's it going? How's your caseload going?
My caseload is definitely under control. Thanks to my food poisoning last week, I got to spend a day home from work, and I blew through another case in Dual Destinies.
You blew chunks and then blew through another case.
That's it. That's exactly what happened, actually. But I did not do it at the same time. I took breaks. They were separate items because I wanted to keep my 3DS uncontaminated and clean. But yeah, I did. I got through another case, and it was excellent. I really liked it much better than the preceding one. And I'm in one that has a really cool premise. It's actually involves space and an astronaut. And that's something that I don't recall any of the previous games in the Ace Attorney series handling, so I like the new setting. And yeah, I'm continuing to love it. I did not go into the DLC yet, but it is going to happen at this rate. I'm going to be done with the game soon enough, even when I move, and I won't have internet, and I may not even have my console set up for Splatoon's release, which makes me sad. I'll still have my 3DS.
I like thinking that you talk about moving, you'll have everything boxed up, so that Toad and Mario and Luigi, they'll be boxed up, you'll be alone, but you'll have Dual Destinies to be there to comfort you.
Yes, that's true. And who knows? I might do a new backdrop for the next living area. Who knows what it'll entail?
I'm just going to say, I can't wait to hear your impressions on the DLC, guys.
Well, I think there's a killer whale involved, which I really want to see a lot.
Yeah. That's true. You're basically going to SeaWorld in the DLC episode.
That is awesome.
So how many pieces of DLC are there for Dual Destinies?
I think only that one.
Yeah, I thought there were two extra cases. I don't know.
I think there was only one, but
is there only one?
Yeah.
Well, that'll make it even easier to finish this.
And so when are you? Because previously, I think it was a couple weeks back. No, you said you would finish this game in like 6 months' time by your current play rate. Obviously, that's picked up. So what's your new prediction here?
Let's say by the end of June, because it's going to get really hectic when I can't do anything at all that's fun except pack and then unpack. So I don't want to be overly ambitious and assume that just in a few weeks I'll be done. So that'll give me some more reasonable breathing room.
I played it last year when I went to E3 on my plane back to LA and my plane back to the Netherlands. So that's how I spend my hours, just playing Dual Destinies.
That's a good way to spend an airplane ride.
They're great airplane games.
Yeah, I feel like they'd be really good. I feel like I love playing my 3DS or the DS before that when I'd ever take trips, especially via airplane. And I feel like games like that, story-based games, I really enjoyed Professor Layton games on airplane trips.
Yeah, absolutely.
something you can kind of enjoy, and there is challenge to it, but like very frustrating games, I feel like, where you die and stuff that agitate you aren't the best.
No.
Yeah, I never played, for example, Monster Hunter on a plane because I was like, gosh, I want to defeat that monster, and the people were like, oh no, I'm moving back. No.
Well, I'm awesome at Monster Hunter, so I'd play that on a plane. There's no concern of anything bad happening there. But yeah. Well, a game that has been agitating me, and I did finish it, I wanted to let you know, Noah, is Harmonite.
You finished it. Wow, you finished a rhythm game.
Did
Yes.
you finish the special world?
No, I could have cared less about the special world. I beat that final.
Then you didn't finish it.
Oh, come on.
No, the actual ending is in the special world, so you didn't finish it. Good luck.
Oh, I could care less about the stupid Harmonite story. It is the bland princess captured trope over and over again because Nintendo doesn't want to think about doing anything else. And it gets worse. I think I talked about this before, where it's you miss one note or you miss one jump and you die, and there's no checkpoints. So you start all the way back at the beginning of the stage to do it all over again, which I feel like is just a decade-old design thing that should be done with. I mean, I don't play that many rhythm games, so I'm sure there are people out there who love that you have to go through all of the song. But when these boss fights, in particular, are split up by little cutscenes in between that you can't skip or whatever, it is just, oh. I don't totally dislike Harmonite, but that is one of the most mediocre Nintendo eShop games I've played.
Yeah, as the resident rhythm fan, it was, I would say, Game Freak's first stab at doing something else than Pokemon in a very long time. I believe that the last original game they've done before that was, I would say, Drill Dozer and GBA. So it was sort of impressive that they were doing something else. I liked it. I still think I do, but I don't really like the bosses in that game.
Ugh, nope. And no, I thought about you a little bit because here's a Nintendo eShop game that has the visual punch, that looks good, that shows well. You're rolling your eyes, and everyone can see it this week. I'm glad.
That's totally fine. They can see how I.
But the gameplay's lacking. Box Boy is basic, but so much cheaper and so much more awesome.
Box Boy is incredible. I really love that game. I think it's one of the best 3DS eShop games.
Our campaign to get Noah to eventually buy it.
Noah, honestly,
Nope.
I think I think it's a game that you need to pick up. I don't preach like eShop games anymore because honestly, sometimes people take it the wrong way. But this is the first game in like a very I'm not laughing. This is me being really super serious with you right now. This is the first time I'm doing this in a very long time, and I'm saying this.
Sitting me down. Serious recommendation.
But Box Boy is one of the most incredible puzzle games I've played in a very long time because every single world in that game tries to do something new. And
Yeah.
I've become sick of a concept like sometimes 10 levels in. And the eShop has so many puzzle games that have done that. And I had so many problems with those games. And this is a game I have no problems with. Like, it is minimalistic for a reason because it wants to focus you on the puzzles and the concepts inside. And I just had fun with that game, just pure fun.
Yeah,
Great.
it's in the running for my game of the year right now, especially for just your 3DS Spirit.
I believe that. I believe that.
And since I'm the host this week, I can say that Box Boy is officially the NF Show's Game of the Year so far for 2015. I can make those declarations. Noah apparently forgot about how the way things work now with the host of the NF Show and didn't make any declarations last week. We need to write these down. There can only be one declaration per week. You can't contradict what someone else. You can't contradict what someone else said previously. So far we have Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate is better than Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and Box Boy is officially the NF Show's Game of the Year for 2015 so far. So that one can obviously be contradicted because we haven't gotten through the entire year or anything.
Well, and it's also you making that opinion.
No, that's the official opinion. That is the truth.
It's officially endorsed by 2 people in this call, so I don't want to hear anything about Noah.
Yeah, it should get like an extra star next to it because we
That's
have
like a
co-host.
0.5 if it's a cat host.
No, it's 10 additional points. Do you know how many each of games I play every single week? I mean, gosh darn, people.
So, sticking with 3DS, I did my homework, Noah. You got on me that I needed to play Stretch Mo.
Because you just love those Mo games.
Because Nintendo... Oh, Crash Mo. No, let's not go there. Nintendo stealthily launched this new Push Mo. It like popped up in Japan as, I think, Push Mo Hippoland, and people were like, what the heck? There's a new Push Mo game out. And then the next day or two, it came to Europe, and it came to North America. Here it's Stretch Mo. In Europe, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, it's full blocks.
Yes, because the original was full blocks, then the second one was full blocks, and then they put the U and the F together, and that makes full blocks. Very clever, Nintendo. Very clever.
So the interesting thing about this is it is free to start. The first 7 levels are free, and then you can either buy the full game for $10, or you can buy 4 different packs. And then there's actually options if you buy 1 pack, you can buy the rest of them or anything. And that adds up to a little more than $10. But I only played the first 7 levels and was enchanted by Papa Blocks and Mallow and Stretch Mo and everything. But I didn't pull the trigger yet because I actually played another demo that made me buy the full game before that, a game that I've had the demo stuck on my console forever, and I was like, you know what, before I buy Stretch Mo, I want to play this demo, and that was Azure Striker Gunvolt. And the cool thing about the Gunvolt demo that's different a little bit than Stretch Mo, although it's not one thing, you have to download the demo in the game. Stretch Mo, you just download the demo and then you get access to the game, is you can play basically an hour of Striker Gunvolt before it cuts you out of the demo and says you need to buy the full game. Like 2 levels out of the 6, and then I'm sure there's extra. And while Striker Gunvolt didn't necessarily... It's a lot different than Mega Man, for anyone that's familiar. Instead of just shooting enemies, you're actually tagging enemies, and then you're using the shoulder button to like electrocute them with the main character. Just the art style and the visual effects in the 3D are really great for a side-scrolling action game, and I love that there's just all the stuff thrown on top of it. There's like a leveling system and special abilities, and you can equip stuff, and I really don't know how much that'll affect gameplay. At least early on it hasn't, but I just love that that's all thrown in there because it's just a game of...
Oh, later on it definitely will. Later on it will definitely impact how you play.
That's cool. I just love... It's a game of excess, and I love, like, stylistically, just how over the top everything is.
I really like that game, but I don't really like the dialogue from that game.
I can see that, definitely. It gets talky in places where you're like, okay, just let me play. It really kind of slaps you in the face with the story, at least early on. And yeah, there's especially early on, it's very chatty. And I don't know about you, Don, but I feel like as I've gotten older, I have really grown tired of games that just feel like they have to stop and talk to me. Especially like the writing's pretty good here in Gunvolt, but it's still too chatty for me. But it reminds me of Fantasy Life and stuff.
It was kind of, with Stretch Mo for me as well, it's kind of a parallel between the two. Like, I played 3 of these games. I don't need to have an introduction for every single thing that I played in these games before.
Yeah.
Stretch Mo says walk around with the circle pad of the D-pad. I know that. You don't have to tell me. It's on the left of the console. I use it all the freaking time. But it's really weird to me that in that regard. But yeah, just going back to Stretch Mo, just a little bit. I played that a lot this week. Well, next to the other game we're going to talk about very soon. But that game, here's my history. I love the original. I think Crash Mo I liked as well, though it became a bit too hard too soon for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really play much of the Wii U one. I played through it, and I was kind of like, yeah, I'm done. I don't need to play this again. But Stretchmo, what I like about that game is the elements that it mixes together to create something new.
I haven't played after Crash Mo. I was kind of done with the Mo games. Push Mo World just looked too much of the same, and I didn't give it a shot. But the fact that Stretch Mo is free to play, it got me just to play those short 7 levels, and it instantly was like, oh my gosh. It definitely is more reminiscent of Push Mo, which I sunk 12 to 15 hours into.
I honestly think it's a combination of Crash Mo and Push Mo together, but also playing around more with a 3D field sort of thing, which I think is super interesting. So
Yeah.
I mostly played the basic puzzles of the Mellow world, but I did play a little bit of the Poppy world where they really toy around with those 3D elements and it becomes really, really fun. But
Cool.
I need to play more of that game.
Yeah, so I'll basically have more to say in the coming weeks on Gunvolt and Stretch Mo. I'll probably be playing through Gunvolt first, which I'm excited to check out after a good initial impression, just to see how it kind of riffs on the Mega Man style elements, because it's reminiscent of like the Zero games and
well, it's pretty much the same developer as the Zero games. So.
Yeah, and it creates, but it's doing something new, so that'll be cool. But speaking of a game doing something new, especially from Nintendo, Don, is Splatoon.
That was the good first segue of this show.
Thanks. So you've been playing a ton of Splatoon over what, the past week?
Yeah, it has been a bit more than a week. I mean, it's Tuesday now here, so it's a bit more than a week. But yeah, I've been playing it a lot over the last 8 days.
Mainly multiplayer or single player or?
I played a lot of the single player. I can honestly say that. I cannot talk about all aspects of the single player, but I played most of the single player. And on the other opposite side, I also played a lot of the multiplayer. So I can't talk about my total count in hours at this stage in time, but it's more than a working day or more than a full day. So I played a lot of Splatoon.
So is the single player, is that make up a lot of the game, or is that pretty? Can you at least have you finished the single player campaign? Is it pretty short? Is it really just kind of taking you through the paces of how to play the game, or does it actually do more than that?
I finished the single player. Again, I cannot comment on how lengthy it is. So I need to leave that here for right now. But it's longer than I anticipated.
Okay. Well, that's kind of good to know.
Yeah.
And is it pretty slow to begin? You talked about being able to chat about the first 3 levels, or is it really...
First 3... we can chat about the first 3 worlds, which show off a lot of the concepts almost right from the get-go. And what I think is very good about the single player is that it shows all of the cards that are kind of thrown at you later in the multiplayer in a very different way. Because it adds more platforming elements to it, throws enemies your way, and you need to be very creative with solving puzzles. It becomes sort of a puzzle platformer in a sense.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but the level concepts are... each stands on its own. Like, there's barely, in the first 3 worlds at least, there's barely a level that's almost exactly the same. There's one level where, because you probably have seen that single player trailer that was released a few months back, where you, for example, have where the squid jumps on ink rails and moves all across the level. There's pretty much one level that's fully based around that, fully based around the concept of those ink rails. And you really have to make a lot of use of them, and even jump out of them sometimes to move up to higher platforms. And it uses all of the tricks in that one specific level, but not reuses the tricks too much, but just moves on to something else completely. Another level is that a lot of the platforms that come your way are completely invincible, and you have to shoot ink at it to make them appear.
Oh,
But
okay.
at some points they're trying to make it difficult for you, as there are robotic monsters there that try to eat the ink as you go. So you need to be very quick and handy with your movement.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But it sounds like multiplayer is where Splatoon really shines for a lot of people.
Yeah, I would say that, but they both stand together on the same ground for me.
But you can't. One thing that I think we've talked about, and I think Nintendo's commented on, your gear and abilities and stuff you unlock does
Oh,
not
yeah,
transfer between single player and multiplayer.
yeah, but yeah, that's the big difference. They are completely different entities, but they both stand together in that regard because they're both self-contained thing.
Yeah.
Um, where I Here's the thing where before I played the single player, I wasn't really sure what I would think of it, because it showed a few cool concepts in that trailer, but I honestly thought it would be over in like an hour or so. That's definitely not the case. It's way lengthier, and like like I said before, every single of those levels just does something different. There's another stage that completely is focused on moving platforms, and there's another one. I can talk about the first three levels for ages, but every single one of those levels is just really cool and well designed.
That's promising because I know Noah, we've talked about how we were really
Hmm.
worried what the single player would have to offer.
I know a lot of people with me that were really worried about the single player, and I didn't know what to expect from the single player. Um, but it exceeded my expectations a little bit.
Hmm. Well, I think I'm probably not the only one. I'm most interested in multiplayer and how
I got you.
things are going on with that. I'm guessing that wait times for the lobbies are pretty long because it's obviously a game not out in the wild. Early reviewers only have access to it.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
I'm curious how everything's holding up, even though there's probably not too much stress on the servers. Those wait times, I mean, I see people on Twitter talking about those wait times. Do you wish at all that Nintendo had it where if like three people, you had six people, you could get started in game? I feel
no,
like, really?
no. I don't want that. I want equal teams, because this game is more than anything else that I've played. This game is based around those teams. Those games, those this game lives and dies on those teams, because we had people drop like a few times during the let's say many hours that I played that game, and when one people drops, that game becomes unbalanced. That game needs 4 on 4 people.
But why couldn't it be 3 on 3?
It's a bit of a tricky one because honestly, here's the thing with 3 on 3. You don't have a full focus all over the map. Like, you need to have a lot of people around to make sure that you can collect all the turf, collect all the moments that are important to reach. And within that 3 minute time span, I don't think that's capable with 3 on 3 players.
So if someone drops, the game won't throw in someone else that may be waiting. There's no mid-match matchmaking.
No, no.
Wow. I
Uh,
that sounds problematic on paper. I'll be very curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, but for the majority of it, nobody dropped really, so I had no problems with it. So I just went through the match and moved on. There would people drop after the match, because they would want to switch gear or so. But like quickly afterwards, when actual people were on the server, like easily 2 other people would come online and you would have 8 players again. So I don't really think once the game launches, it's a big of an issue, because what I've seen from the global test fire, those servers seem to hold up pretty well because everybody was allowed to play that game for free, and I don't have noticed any difference between the global test fire and going to this copy I have from the game now. There's really no difference there in how the game progresses if the game lags, because honestly, I don't have a really amazing internet connection. I don't live in the best area to even have internet, but majority of the match that I played never had a problem, never had a hitch, never had an issue. I just could play the game without any real problem.
Well, I want to go back a few paces and address the elephant in the room. You talk about how this game is so focused on teamwork and how important it is to have even teams. There is no voice chat. There is no keyboard typing. There are no preset chat options. I feel like even
There,
where you
there,
could
there,
have.
there are preset messages, but you can change them.
I'm confused. There's preset messages, but you can't communicate.
You can change them up.
Can
They're
you
not
use them?
customizable, I think is what he's saying.
Okay, can you use them actually during a match, or is this only during the lobby?
Yeah, those are only during the match, not through the lobby.
And is there something like someone's behind you or anything like that, or what?
It's mostly to say, come over here or say a good job on a certain action, just to communicate like quick notes to one another. It's a bit weird in that regard, but honestly, I barely found the notice to really talk to people. I mean, the matches go by really really fast. The majority of those matches, I was purely focused on the task I found necessary to win the game.
So I've seen another reviewer, for instance, say it's very frustrating when I see someone come up behind a teammate and all I can do is just look at them and I can scream out to my TV, there's someone behind you, but to watch a teammate get splatted is a frustrating experience. You haven't encountered anything similar to that.
Yeah, here's the thing. When you play a match, you need to be focused on all times. If you get splatted, that's on your own call because
But you just said that this is a team-focused game.
Yeah. I wasn't finished with my sentence. That's very rude. Say sorry.
Nope, will not. I'm the host of this show.
No, you interrupted my sentence. That's not very nice. And I was coming to that point. The focus of the teamwork is getting as much turf as possible. As the individual team member, you need to do what you think is best to complete that task. While I do see a problem when you're playing in actual teams, and that updates will come in August, so I can't really say for sure. Playing it against random people, you all have your own goals in mind anyway. And I don't really had an issue with it over the 100 matches that I've played.
Okay. Noah, you had a concern about the amount of maps, right?
Well, not totally. I know that what do they have, like they have 4, I think, in the launch? And okay, 5. They have 5, and they're going to be adding, what, 3 or 4 afterwards over the summer?
Yeah, they said they're going to add a couple every few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's kind of okay. I've definitely played a fair share, well, actually a lot, free-to-play online games on the PC, and those games often only have a single map. So it's a double-edged sword. On the positive side, when you don't have a lot of map variety, you really get good at learning the map quickly and getting good at running around and knowing where to go, where the blind spots are, where there are good places to sneak up on somebody else, and where to watch your back. On the other side, you can get bored with it if there's not enough variety. So it kind of cuts both ways.
Yeah. Here's the thing. With the 5 maps that currently are available, I explore them from top to bottom, and I still find new ways to use that map to my advantage, even after playing for so long. So I don't necessarily think it is that. You need to have a selection of players that know what they're doing, and you need to find new ways to constantly outsmart them. I think that's the most key element in that. And I do think that after, I would say, maybe another week or two, I would probably get bored of the currently 5 maps available.
Oh, wow. After just a week or two?
No. I'm currently playing for 2 weeks, and I will probably, after another week or two, probably want to have some more. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Because I will have knew those maps from inside out after a week or 3-4. But I would hope so that after launch, maybe quickly afterwards, they would add some stuff to that, because the 5 maps they have now are really good for exploring new ways to just screw with your enemies, and especially the one of the few that they included in the global test fire, the Bay one. The Bay one is incredible for just sneaking about and being very tricky to the other people that are on the playing field. But something like the one that we saw at E3, that has been a bit changed up. It's called Urchin Underpass. I think that one is a bit more straightforward in the regard from the midfield is a big open space and the opposite sides are more closed off areas. So you need to be very focused on shooting a lot of people in that specific area so you can move on and get closer to the other person's base in the very end of the game.
How do you like the hub area of the game? Can you talk any about that? Does it add to the experience, all the additional customizations and characters you can talk to level up and customize your character?
Well, you name a few points there. First, the hub world, which is the Inkopolis Plaza. There's not much to that. You see Squids who posted Miiverse images. You can access all the features of the game. Though you could also do that with your Ryu gamepad. You don't need to walk all across the area to go to the elements that you want to go to. Yeah, the shopping area I probably had the most fun with in that area because I could just try out different weapons, collect different gear, which you can only use from level 5, I think. So you need to upgrade to a certain level to use the various hats, shoes, and shirts before you have actually access to that. And every level also unlocks new weapons for you to try or different weapon sets. So there's constantly something for you to get back once you get to your point down. Another problem I have, because the level up system, it goes right, I guess. It goes a bit slower than anticipated, but it goes to an alright pace. I think honestly, with the thing they have done with regards to the ranked mode, that's a bit that it is locked until you reach level 10, and then when enough people get level 10, they will unlock it. I actually think that was a smarter move on their part, because honestly, it is very difficult right now to get a match in ranked mode, because the majority of people that are still out there who are looking at this game don't have level 10 just yet.
Yeah.
And I think only when you have like a good stream of people who can play ranked mode, it makes sense to unlock ranked mode for those players who actually took the time to play the game. I didn't play much of ranked mode, or Splat Zones as the mode currently ranked mode is called. I only got to play like 3 matches and that's it, because it's really difficult to get currently 8 players going in that thing right now. But that one is very different from Turf Wars in the sense that you don't need to defend your entire area, but basically you need to take over these few spots on the map and currently defend it and get them back. And once you get both of them, a timer will come down on your part, and the first team to get that timer down to 0 wins that match.
Yeah.
So it's a very different mentality than the regular Turf Wars.
One quick question before we move on. You were talking about the gear and stuff, which looks really cool. Visually, this game is just astounding from the outside, and I'm sure you're enjoying it. When you get to buy these new weapons or test them out, is there like a firing range where you can test them? Really
there's a full-blown test area.
Okay, cool. And then my other question, I think that this isn't in the game. You can't make loadouts and change loadouts between matches.
You can't. Well, you can if you access like the part where you actually go into the lobby. You can actually just quickly go to like the main hub of the matchmaking section and just press the plus button to go to your different loadouts. But the loadouts are locked, so you can't change them up. So the secondary weapon and the special weapon that you get are locked to that specific weapon that comes with that package.
But like, if I'm in a lobby with you and we're playing a game, I can switch weapons between each match, or I actually have to drop out of that
No,
lobby.
first, like I said, you first have to leave the actual lobby you're in. But like, there's an
Oh,
actual main lobby of where you select like going to a friend's match, ranking battle, and the turf wars.
yeah.
And while you're in there, you can still go to the equip option and change your loadout and go back in there.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just say this: Nintendo, please patch that as soon as possible, because that will drive me insane that I can't switch weapons for different maps coming up or anything. I think it's the same problem people have with Mario Kart
Well,
8.
you don't know which map is coming up. That's the issue. You don't know what map is coming up, so you wouldn't know. You could get two maps in the same in a row.
So
It
it's a
doesn't
surprise.
It doesn't say which map you're getting.
Oh, that's kind of how Heroes of the Storm works, where you can select what map you want to play, and they have very different feels and vibes to them, and so it can be a little daunting when you don't know what the constraints are that you're going to be playing within.
Yeah, and also you need to. The positive side of that, I think, is that you really learn to adapt really quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I still would like to be able to switch weapons, even if I can't plan for a stage, just if I'm tired of something. But I, c- I might be able to stomach that a little more than some of the other lacking features of everything. But Don, thank you so much. We can tell that you're obviously glowing about Splatoon, and I don't know
Yeah, I
about
really love
Noah.
it.
I don't know about Noah. Even though I have some pointed criticism and concerns, I as well am very excited to check out Splatoon. What is it, late
Hmm.
next week for us here in
Mhm.
North America,
Next
Noah?
Friday.
Well,
Mhm.
for everywhere, it will be next Friday.
Oh,
Entire world.
wow. We'll have to get our splat on. So I'm excited. No, I know you'll be in the middle of moving and everything, but
Mhm.
it'll be exciting. We'll have to figure out.
To rub more salt in the wounds, potentially, I will be getting the Splatoon cover plates for my new 3DS.
Nice.
Oh, yeah,
Good
that's
for
pretty
you.
cool. That's really cool. I bet. I hope there's a cool. Isn't there like a Splatoon 3DS theme coming as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, at the same day. There will be also a
Oh, cool.
Splatoon 3DS theme.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Well, awesome. So I'm sure we're gonna have much more
Oh
Splatoon here on
yeah.
the NF show. There are a ton of FNNF magazine reviewers and staffers playing the game. Noah and I both plan on getting the title. It's definitely going to be the talk of the Nintendo world over the coming months, and it'll be really exciting to see how the game evolves and what Nintendo addresses and everything.
Mhm.
What we're also going to be excited about that we're going to touch on briefly is Nintendo has unveiled its E3 plans for next month in Los Angeles. They're going to go back once again to the digital event, and that'll
Mhm.
be occurring at the regular time. I think it's like 9 or 9:30 Pacific time, Tuesday, June 16th. So we can look forward to more Reggie and Iwata fighting Super Smash Brothers style. Who knows what they'll be up to this year? I think we're all excited to see as long as it plays out like 2014, not 2013, and I'm sure it will. Um, we also found out that the Nintendo World Championships are making a return, marking the 25th anniversary. They're called the Nintendo World Championships, but unfortunately for Don and people in Europe and everything, it's really only happening in North America at Best Buy locations before it goes. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are probably pretty young. I'm probably right on the cusp. No, about the Nintendo World Championships happening in 1990. I actually competed in the 1990 World Championships. Did
No
you?
way. No, I was not so privileged.
I got my brother let me tag along. My dad took us. I think it was Indianapolis, Indiana, in 1990. I was terrible. You got to play. I can't remember. I loosely remember the event because I met Mario, but it was I think it went Super Mario Brothers, Tetris Rad Racer. I might be getting the order confused, but I feel like the point of Super Mario was getting the coins and proceeding levels, and I just was in the underground.
Wasn't one thing? Wasn't Tetris the last game?
It could have been. I might have the order mixed up. I just
Because you
spent
need
my
to get that all of the match points as possible on Tetris with the time you had remaining or something.
Yeah, I just spent all my time. I feel like in Mario and died immediately as a 4-year-old.
Huh.
Yeah, I probably if they kept records, you would see my name and the bottom 10th or whatever else. I feel like my brother may have proceeded a couple of rounds, but it was the real deal.
Wow.
So that's, yes, I saw a bunch of people my age being like, what the heck is even the Nintendo World Championships? And I meant to send something out on Twitter, but it's like, I was there. I am a seasoned Nintendo World Championship veteran or whatever. Saw it early, in the early days. I, even having that nostalgia, I kind of shrugged my shoulders at it. I think it's like a neat thing. I feel like it's, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. I felt like it was Nintendo just being like, you know what, the Smash Brothers tournament was really popular and it was really cool. What do we do this year to do like a live fan event? And I feel like this was kind of the 25th anniversary, they could do cool things, but I so far I'm kind of in a indifferent stage on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will see what as it comes. I will probably be there on Sunday when that thing happens, so I'll probably go to the finals and see what that is all about.
I like that they're doing something nostalgic, and there's more potential for this to be an ongoing annual event, potentially even go international, more international than it is this year. So I like that they're giving it a go in lieu of having some amazing competitive games they can tie into pre-launch like they did last year.
And that's the big question. What will be the games that make up Nintendo World Championships 2015? Could a new game be thrown in there? Could they go full the wizard on us and at the actual championships that Sunday unveil a new Mario game or unveil something new with Mario
That would
Maker?
be sweet.
I feel like they need to do that. And if you're unfamiliar, The Wizard is a 1990 movie that basically...
No. It's a 1990 advertisement.
Yeah, it's a feature-length advertisement, but it's also has some great quotes, has some big stars. Jenny Lewis is a really popular musician now. Fred Savage is basically a director and everything. He's tweeted that he wants to be at the Nintendo World Championship, so hopefully Nintendo takes advantage of that and everything. So it's going to be really cool. And then the sad thing we just learned today, though, about E3, with all the hype surrounding it, it's always so exciting as we get closer, is Iwata has decided to skip out again because of business reasons. Thankfully, this time it's on his own volition. It's not health-oriented. It's on business reasons. And even though we're getting the digital event, we'll see him and everything, it's still, I like thinking that him, Miyamoto, and Reggie are there to complete the Triforce and everything.
Yeah, I agree on that.
So there will be much more E3 here on the NF show. Noah and I always do our crazy predictions episode, which will probably be happening in probably the week before or whatever else, where we'll just throw everything out there and see what sticks. So you can look forward to that. And then obviously during the week of E3, Don's going to be there. He's probably going to provide so much awesome coverage on his YouTube page, on Twitter, and everything else, and Go Nintendo. And
I still kind of need to find like a sort of a SIM card for North America because I kind of want to stream some from my phone while I walk from the show floor. But we'll see if that happens.
That's cool. Or use a Periscope or whatever, one of the Twitter.
Yeah, but I still need a SIM card to do that.
That's true. Well, yeah. So be sure he's at Nintendo, and he'll be covering that from the show floor. Noah and I will be in the comforts of our home doing some couch critiquing of, it should have been like this. We can't play the games. So look forward to all of that. So yes, prediction show, then E3 happens, then we'll have an E3 show. So much awesome stuff. New Nintendo games. Who knows what else Nintendo might throw out there.
I think it will be super disappointing.
Wow.
There you go. Don's getting in his prediction. Mr. Cynical. Super disappointing Nintendo show. Yeah. Well, I know one thing that won't be disappointing. It's the feedback for this week. We've got a ton of great emails, a ton of great comments. So I'm going to hand the reins over to Noah.
Thank you, Evan. If you want to share feedback about this week's episode, you can send it in via email to show@nfmagazine.com, or you can leave us a comment below this video over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/nfmagazine. We always love to hear from you no matter what medium you send it in, and we look forward to hearing what your comments are. But now let's get into the comments from last week's episode, number 66. First up in the email front, we have an email from Chris N., who wrote, I am a new subscriber to the magazine, and I love it already. I also love the show and look forward to it every week. Thank you
Yay!
very much. That's great. I just got my first 2 amiibo, Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, and when I opened them up, a question struck me. Since these amiibo were marketed for Super Smash Bros. Specifically and have the Super Smash Bros. Base, it seems reasonable to me that I should expect to see new Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong amiibo from Nintendo for some other games later on, maybe a future DK Country or other DK-specific title. Do you guys think that we'll see some of the characters from the Smash Collection have new amiibo released for future titles, like a new Link amiibo for Zelda Wii U? If Zelda Wii U gets its own amiibo, I would love to see Epona. And if we do start to see doubles of some of the popular characters, I can already see collecting my favorites turning into quite a financial burden.
5 different Yoshi amiibos say hello.
Yeah, we've already got Mario Party. Don brings up that there's Yarn Yoshi coming for Yoshi's Woolly World.
Three Yarn Yoshis, 1 Mario amiibo, 1 Super Smash Bros. Amiibo.
So yes, we will be seeing doubling up. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a special Link amiibo, which I'd be happy about. One that doesn't have a stick to prop. One that doesn't have a stick up his butt.
Maybe the difference is if there will be amiibo for that game, I will probably think it will be based on the design of that game and not based on the regular Link.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing. I'm really looking forward to getting special versions. I mean, that Yarn Yoshi specifically is a fantastic example of a one-off design.
Too bad you're not getting it this summer, huh?
What?
Too bad you're not getting it this summer, huh?
Yeah, we've talked about that many times on the show. Our next email comes from Chris. Another Chris. This one wrote, ever since I was young, I've done my gaming via a Nintendo handheld. I bought a Wii a couple of years back, and never use it. I guess I've just grown accustomed to playing on my own personal device. I've just been in a predicament where I hate television gaming and hate smartphone gaming even more. I really feel that if Nintendo exited the handheld market, that I'd just be out. But I love gaming. I need help. Should I even be concerned? Yes, I'm probably as confused as you are right now, Chris.
I think Chris is basically saying, for people that might be unaware, Nintendo is entering the smartphone market. They plan to release 5 games by the end of 2017, so you could see that as a threat to their handheld gaming. Chris, I think you're going to be okay. If Nintendo exited any market, the home console or the handheld, unless they do the hybrid, which I want, I think they'd exit the home console first because handhelds are so much popular where Nintendo is based in Japan. So I think for the foreseeable future, you have nothing to worry about.
I don't know. It depends on what they're doing with NX.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what that next system is going to be, but if anything, I kind of had that concern myself, Chris, when I bought a new 3DS XL, saying, why did I do this? This system is going to be gone instantly, but it's not. We're going to be getting some new games on it for at least the next year and a half, fingers crossed. So we have no idea if the NX is going to be a third pillar or a replacement or a new console. Either way, we're definitely getting some new 3DS stuff, and actually that's one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to at E3, or let me say it's a burden upon Nintendo, is I want to see more exciting content announced for 3DS, at least for the next 12 months.
Well, are they? No, they're not.
Last year was definitely disappointing from that perspective.
I want to be real for a second and say from outside of 2010, they never had a good showing of 3DS at E3.
Yeah, the year where they had the double show. What's the year that they had like a separate conference just for 3DS by itself?
2012, I think.
That was in 2011, and that was in September in Japan.
No, but they had a separate Wednesday night show. I believe it was 2012. And that's when they had. Like,
I went to that show. That show was really terrible.
That was Paper Mario, I think, 3DS. But at least they gave some.
They never announced anything new. There was nothing new in that conference. Absolutely nothing.
Codename Steam last year was pretty exciting.
But that was not for the public. That was behind closed doors.
Well, it was for us, the couch critiquers, and we loved it. I mean, we could.
Well, the majority of people I was in that room hated Codename Steam.
Yeah. It's still
angry, cynical journalist. Let's move on. Next,
I was the only one who was like, "Yay, new integration systems again!" Everybody's like, "Oh, just be silent for a minute. It's like, sorry.
But Chris, for now, I don't think that you should be concerned. And who knows? I mean, I don't know if you have a smartphone, but Nintendo could be the company that changes your mind about smartphone gaming, and they come out with something that's actually really cool. It could be a stretch for someone who hates smartphone gaming, as you wrote, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Our next email is from Axel Droxler, who wrote, "Long time no speak. Still listening to you every week, but I was too busy to write any feedback for a good reason, because I can now happily announce that the game I was working on just got released on Steam. It's called Dex, and it's a 2D action RPG set in the cyberpunk universe, sort of a 2D DSX, if you will. Now you may ask, why should we care if it's on Steam? Because we're soon going to start working on the console versions, and most particularly the Wii U version. I'm super stoked for this, and I'll try my best to make sure as many Wii U-specific features as possible can be added to the game. I've already got several ideas, but I thought I could ask you, are there any dream features you've always hoped to see in Wii U games? Could be gamepad, Miiverse, anything." Axel Droxler.
So we got this email. I don't know if you did know it, and I don't know if you're familiar with the game, Don. And I watched the trailer for it,
I
Axel
did
Droxler,
too.
and it looks really good. I'm very excited to see it. I love 2D action role-playing games and everything. Looks very atmospheric. Sadly, I'm not creative enough where I could watch that and think of a great way to possibly use the gamepad or whatever. Maybe you could leave Miiverse messages or anything on stages, or let people know if it is like Deus Ex, let people know, hey, you could do this mission this way or do this level this way to circumvent enemies or whatever. That might be kind of cool, but this is probably why I'm not a game designer. But I'm really excited to see it.
Honestly think, and I will say it again, I think Nintendo wrote themselves in the corner when designing the gamepad. And honestly, the most exciting thing about the Wii U in this regard is Miiverse. So if you can think of a really smart way to implement Miiverse, you already way ahead of the majority of the games that are on the Wii U eShop.
Well, I do think we have a recent example of clever gamepad usage, which was Affordable Space Adventures. So
yeah,
I think that would be a good inspiration point.
But there's a big difference between space 2D exploration game and 2D action game.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's a one-to-one example by any means. But that said, congratulations on getting your game over on Steam. Thanks for giving us the update. The trailer looks great. Great voice acting. It's a cool premise. Go ahead, folks out there, check it out if you haven't seen it, and cross your fingers for a Wii U version. And if you have ideas, feel free to send them into the show, and then we can share them via the show with Axel Droxler. Thank you very much, and keep us posted on how that goes.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed for you. Now we're going to get into our comments from last week's episode. First up, from Old School 1990s, my summer gaming tradition is to play through The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past in one session without dying. This gets you a 0 game at the finish screen on the SNES version. I think they later modified the 0 game to be just a no-death run, but I've always enjoyed the challenge of doing it all in one shot without saving and quitting. My brother and I did this one summer long, long ago, and it is one of my fondest gaming memories. Old School 1990s.
That's awesome. That's all I gotta say. That is really cool. Thank you for sharing.
My summer tradition is playing through Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's cool. Yeah, there's something about RPGs. I know in previous years I've thought, summer's here, I should play an RPG, which is kind of counterintuitive because you think, summer's here, go outside, don't put yourself to a game that's going to require an inordinate amount of hours and stuff. But I think there's kind of a vacation vibe to it. Like, an RPG lets you go to a new world, and it's kind of like taking a summer vacation in a new world. And so I feel like RPGs are a good summer type of game.
Here's the problem with me. I live in the woods. I'm born in the woods. So for me, like, going outside during the summer is not the most exciting thing in the entirety of the world.
Understandable. Yeah. I wonder, Evan and I will see if we can make good on our long-standing idea of trying to play through Attack of the Friday Monsters during the summer. I think that would be a wonderful trip to
Attack of the Friday Monsters is not that difficult to complete, though. I think it's a good 7 hours.
Yeah, it's not a long game, but what we were talking about last week, Evan and I, was that we so much want to just put our time into new games, and it's at least for me especially, I feel a little bit guilty if I'm backtracking and playing another game that I really like, It's like I have so many games in my backlog that I need to play, but we'll see. Maybe
we don't like our homework either, but we like to assign it to each other.
Yeah. Always delegation, lots of that.
Yes.
Our next comment is from GLA, who wrote, I'd enjoy Animal Park a lot more if you could choose the season and time trial. This is a comment on the new Mario Kart 8 DLC track. If you could choose the season and time trial or the versus mode, or change season per lap, making it a 4-lap race. The
That's
new
cool.
F-Zero track, Big Blue, was very Sonic All-Stars transformed, which kind of gets forgotten about now. They've added so much to Mario Kart 8 that I'd like them to hold out on Battle Zones until the next console installment to give it more of an impact. I'd rather they make a new Diddy Kong racing game with a much better roster, obviously, than more DLC packs for Mario Kart 8. Continuing on, Splatoon was even better than I expected. I purposefully avoided all YouTube gameplay footage. I don't think I'll miss out on voice chat. Go make the orange bits purple, dude. No thanks. Roll on May 29th. GLA.
The reason why, because I read an interview about this, the reason they locked the Animal Crossing track into summer is because there are different variables for every different season, and it would make very different results in the time trial mode.
That totally makes sense to me just from hearing from your explanation.
Yeah.
That's a cool
But for versus mode, yeah, that makes sense. That would be a good idea.
And GLA, I think along with GLA, lots of people in our audience are going to be getting Splatoon, and it's kind of exciting. I think we'll get to be potentially playing together, at least once my system's set up.
Splatoon is exciting.
Yes. And then we have another global test fire coming up later this weekend, an exciting another opportunity for those of us who maybe didn't make it the first time or people who want to get a second time in. I hope my system's hooked up. We'll see. I don't know. No guarantees from me, unfortunately. Our next comment is from Thunder Razor. I was able to catch the Splatoon Global Test Fire, and even though I was already hyped about this game, I'm even more excited now. In general, I feel that first-person shooter games are better on the PC over consoles for two reasons. Number one, mouse controls are better for aiming than thumbsticks, and number two, 60 frames per second. Splatoon resolves both of these issues as well as some other FPS problems. I love the motion controls to aim. What? It felt almost exactly like a mouse to me, and it was so natural to quickly aim at opponents. For me, moving my arm and hand to aim a weapon makes so much more sense than moving my thumb. I feel that if you get used to gyro controls, you'll have a timing advantage over those that don't use it. Other FPS problems that Splatoon solves are maps with rarely visited areas and camping. Focusing on covering the map in ink naturally makes you explore all of the map, and if everyone camps on a team, that team will lose. Thunder Razor.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I really love the motion controls as well. For me, it feels natural to use them at this stage because honestly, I've been using them for so long that I barely use the sticks anymore. But it's something that you need to get used to. I mean, I played it also at many events like E3, Gamescom, and such, so I had the time to adjust to it. I mean, if you have barely played the game, then it becomes sort of an issue because you kind of have to learn it from scratch. I do agree on the maps with barely visited areas and camping. Though the camping is kind of the point in the Splat Zone mode, I think.
Yeah. That's a cool insight, though, to be brought up, that by having this focus on painting the map instead of killing enemies, it opens up people to camping less and the turf war and stuff. I thought that was a great insight by Thunder Razor. And I don't think that the gyro controls will be for me with the game. I'd probably use the thumbstick. But I like that there's the option for both.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just kind of saying this because it's nice to have the option to use both of them. Like, it'd be nice to have the option.
There we go again.
To talk to people.
I'm
sorry, I can't help myself.
An interesting thing is that you can also, if you in some situations use the stick and in other situations use the motion controls, you can also use a hybrid of both if you would want to.
Oh, that's cool.
Like Captain Toad.
Oh, no. Nope.
Well, kind of like Captain Toad, but only better.
Okay.
Our next comment comes from Benjamin A., who wrote, I was able to try the Splatoon Global Test Fire, and I was impressed. I figured that the reason to have these sessions limited to hour increments is to test their servers by having as many people as possible play at the same time. I enjoyed the motion controls as they feel very natural. I do not see myself playing without them. I saw footage comparison on people who use motion to those who don't, and it's obvious. The game is nowhere near as fluid. The fun factor of this game is unmatched. The 3-minute time frame makes every moment count, with little time to do anything else, like talk, Evan. I am sorry, but after playing this game, I no longer feel the voice chat would bring anything in the game besides distractions, especially with randoms. It is very evident on what needs to be done in this game to succeed without planning a strategy, Evan. I am sure my opinion is popular with Evan especially, and yes, an option would have been nice for friends only, but you would be missing out if that is your reason not to buy this title, Evan.
It is exactly what I said in our discussion before. Because I do feel that it should be an option when those friend team options become available in August. I absolutely believe that. But I do believe that when you play with random people, there's barely any time to even discuss matters like it, because you're too focused in those 3 minutes.
Evan,
right.
do you have a response?
I'm still picking up Splatoon, even though it doesn't have voice chat. But yes, I do have friends that are skipping the game because of the lacking voice chat and the friend lobbies not coming till August. That's just an automatic no sell for them, and I understand that. And what I was gonna say is, number 3, I have actually met people on games through voice chat and become friends with them. There are good things that can happen out there, people.
Random.
I feel like a lot of people out
like half naked people on Uno and Xbox Live.
Okay, well, first off, this doesn't have any video chat or anything, but I just like to say that I feel like a lot of people out there haven't had. First off, don't even try to experience things, but there are positive. I met a lot of awesome people, for instance, through Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate that had voice chat on Wii U, for instance.
That's cool.
So,
all right, and he ends with us.
Settle down. ...
So just fill in the blanks, Benjamin, with your next piece of feedback, please.
Mm-hmm.
Our next piece of feedback is from Kisaki Project, who wrote, "Got some Splatoon quote-unquote global test fire impressions for you. I played the Friday night hour. It was really fun. I turned off the motion controls right away as they were a pain." Not everybody loves them. As Noah said, they need to die. I also turned down the sensitive to aim better. It was a bit loose for me, which is weird. I used to play at sensitivity level 10 in Halo and Gears of War. The game is really fun, but I could see it getting old, which is why the summer-long rollout of content will hopefully help. I'm excited for this, and I'm so glad Nintendo is jumping into the shooter market in their own way. Kisaki Project.
I understand why people wouldn't like the motion controls. It's something that I've become too used to live without at this stage.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's actually writing in with all of their impressions from the Global Test Fire. And what I love that we're getting is people in general are liking it, but not everybody's like universally loving it. Not everybody likes every single feature the same way. And I think this is so much more realistic than some of the streams that I see in comments written on stories or under surveys and stuff like that. So thank you very much, our well-rounded NF Show audience. Our final comment comes from the 7th Experiment, who wrote in, "I just started my summer yesterday, and as a response to one of the viewers asking about any summer gaming traditions, I constantly go back to Skyrim. It's just one of those games that is so packed with content that it never gets old." Don't worry, she goes back to Nintendo content in the next paragraph. "Recently, I've also been enjoying Captain Toad, and hearing about Noah saying that gyro controls need to die, I completely agree. I'm not sure if you have the option to turn off gyro in Captain Toad, but I hope so because it bothers me.
You
Otherwise,
don't.
It's an adorable game.
You don't.
It's so infuriating.
And the big difference between the motion controls in Splatoon and Captain Toad is the motion controls in Splatoon make actually sense.
7th Experiment continues. "I played the Splatoon test fire and it was amazing! Splatoon also has gyro controls, and at first I absolutely hated it. Then I got used to it, and there's an option to turn it off, so that's good. I found myself leaning more towards the basic splatter shotgun and the roller. I am incredibly excited for this game, and I hope I can get my hands on it as soon as possible after it releases." The 7th Experiment. Thank you very much again for all of the fantastic feedback. And even if you play games on other systems other than Nintendo machines, it's totally okay.
Oh, my ear holes.
We all do, truth be told, but Nintendo is.
I played my Vita yesterday morning.
Now that's
Stop
the
it.
ultimate shame system. The
Why?
Vita. But we're going to wrap up.
No,
the episode
no,
for this, and
Virtual
that's
Boy
end
is the
of our-
ultimate shame system.
Well, yeah, that too. The feedback system is now, the feedback section is now closed. I'm going to give the role of talking back to Evan. It's time for bed for me.
Thank you so much, Noah, for taking us through the feedback. And once again, thank you to all of you out there, viewers, listeners, for the great feedback. It's not too late. If you play the upcoming Global Test Fire coming out this weekend, or if you played the old one and you haven't shared your thoughts, please do so. Email us. Leave a comment on our YouTube page. And remember, you can subscribe on YouTube. You can subscribe to us on iTunes. You can review us on iTunes. If you don't get enough of us on the show, you can also follow us on Twitter. I'm at Evan Campbell. Noah's at This Is Noah. And Don is at Nintendon. Most importantly, the official NF Magazine Twitter account is at Nintendo Force. Join the force of Nintendo fans.
Can I plug something really quick?
Sure.
If you want now links to YouTube, Twitter, and every single website that I work on, there is now Nintendon.com.
Oh, cool.
Which is now a main page that links to Nintendo World Report, the Dutch website I work for, Go Nintendo, the YouTube content, and all that different stuff.
Awesome.
Cool.
So there are multiple ways you can stay up to date with us if you're not here every Monday night, or if you don't get your ear pleasure from us through iTunes or whatever other MP3. But that's it for episode 67. Thanks to Noah and Don for joining me. From Kid to Squid is now complete. We'll see you next week, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.